Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Whole Health Weekly tonight, Wednesday night. Hopefully you guys are having a great night. Kind of exciting stuff. I got so I always like trying to change up how we do it. And so this tonight we're going to do some different, we're still sticking on the topics of the whole health trends, but now I figured out how to do use the AI to kind of give me the links to the story. So some of these will actually get to see the TikTok trends that are happening. So I think that'll be pretty fun. That, and I'm working on a better intro video. So hopefully that'll be pretty cool at the end of it. But tonight, we always start Whole Health Weekly. So Whole Health Weekly is about looking at the trends, like the weekly health trends, topics, things that are out there that might come across your feed or your AI algorithm or whatever mind control apparatus they got you on, right? And they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you it's the next best product, eating, grass clippings is the new thing. All of these things, right? And they say all these crazy improvements of health, you know what I mean? And so it depends on how much money they have and how much they want to really push it. I'm gonna tell you a story I heard on a commercial Lexi and I got to listen to. So my youngest daughter is learning to drive. So she gets all pumped because I have a truck, and then we got, she's got her own car, but usually if she's with me, she's like, "Ooh, I get to drive the truck," because she's learning how to drive, And so we're going and we're listening to, she always puts a Spotify. We share one because she knows how to do playlists. I have no idea. I just play whatever. I just think of the artist and go. So we have that, or I just listen to podcasts all the time. We were going through her playlist, which is shocking because it's like 80s music and stuff. And so, of course, this ad pops up. This is what I'm talking about. This is what Whole Health Weekly is all about. So this ad pops up, and I will not mention the medicine or drug that it was, but it literally was like the drug company's getting on there and going, "You can be youthful too. Just make sure you're getting these on a regular basis because they're more of like a youth serum versus a medicine." And I was just blown away at the wow. I was like, if you got to take something for a sickness, typically that's not like a thing that you would pull off as like being, "Oh, hey, this will make you younger." I've never heard that one before. So that was a new one for me. But when remember a lot of these pharmaceuticals, one of the tricks that I've learned is if I own all of the ad revenue. Okay. So let's say Whole Health Weekly, I have all this revenue, which is not why I do it, because there is no revenue until one of these days. Maybe one day I'll get a cool sponsor. I got some good things. Next week is my first interview. It's going to be this night. So remember that Wednesday night, 8:30. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a really good one for those that are into holistic everything. This is going to be a good conversation. So I'll leave it at that. I'm going to try to, promote her pretty good as we get closer. But yeah, if my entire feed was advertisement about, let's say chicken eggs. Let's say it's chicken eggs. Let's just stay nice and neutral. Chicken eggs. 90% of my ad revenue is going to be about chicken eggs. Okay. So as I'm looking through the news feed, all of a sudden something terrible happened with chicken something. So some kind of chicken virus or whatever, right? Do you think I'm going to cover it if 90% of my ad revenue comes from the chicken person? I don't think so. So, thinking of that, when you're watching the news, how many commercials are there that you're watching? And just add them all up. One day, take a little sticky note and see how many ads are for pharmaceutical, sick care drugs, or whatever, right? In that one, let's say, half-hour news channel. Okay. Do you think they want to give up that revenue from those ads? Do you think if a side effect from one of those specific medications came up, you think they'd tell you? Or would they just glance over that? Yeah, I think you're figuring out the situation, right? So not everything that you see online, on TikTok, on all of these things that make it to your feed are necessarily good for you. And that's what Whole Health Weekly is about. So remember, big thing, remember to subscribe. I'm trying to get my newsletter list up there that I forgot to send on Decoder Tuesday because that's new. And so I will be sending it out tomorrow on Thursday. But subscribe to our email list. It's tribe1.substack.com. So tribe1.substack.com. It's where you get notifications that we're going live and newsletters. So we're sending out one right now. Might get into 2 or 3. Sometimes I'll if it's a podcast that you might want to know some more information about because I went too fast or whatever. I also I'll get that transcribed, like, because now all the internet stuff transcribes a lot of the stuff, and we'll put it on there as well. So like, different dosages of herbs or, those kind of things as well. So don't forget about tribe1.substack.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like on Rumble or YouTube the Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey, and you can get to all these videos. So hopefully this is something that you enjoy. My count keeps going up, which is really exciting. So just a little bit at a time, and I'm trying to do it as organic as possible. I think if I stay organic, a lot of times it makes me really, really work hard to make sure it's a good show. And tonight, I think we have that. I think we have some really good, holistic articles, plus some crazy trends that I saw. But I always start with a nice chiropractic piece. And one of my guys that I emulate a lot, I loved him in all things. He was our president of our chiropractic school when I was going there, one of them. So we had a weird thing happen. One of my guys that wrote a book he's an author. He was our president, and he had actually passed away. And he was like in the middle, I think it was our first year. And his name was Virgil Strang. So Virgil Strang was fantastic, wonderful man on homeostasis. He's the one that really got me going, oh my God, life's a wave. It's a waveform. We'll be talking about that in a video, but yeah, so homeostasis was a big piece. And so Virgil Strang was that. When he passed, this new president called, his name is Guy Reichman. And he came in, and he was the one that we graduated under. And Rachel and I always have this story. He's an amazing speaker. He's one of those guys that we always emulate, because he gets on the stage and you just sign up for whatever he was selling. I mean, that's how good kind of like the Tony Robbins of chiropractic, I would say. So he was just fantastic, a great speaker, all those things. But one time Rachel and I were in our dating mode, and we had a day off of school, like a half a day or something. So we decided we were going to go to the movie theater. No other students were going. It was just Rachel and I. And I want to say we went to see The Gladiator. Well, we were going to this movie theater, and there's only like 5 people, 6 people in the theater, but in the back of it was Dr. Riekman, the president of our chiropractic school, which we don't know now. It's probably okay to say. We don't know if he was supposed to be there, but it was like we both caught each other. He was like, "Why you guys are not in class?" And we told him we were like the older students, and he was like, "Oh, yeah." But he felt a little, crap. I don't think I should have been caught here, but he was a very big movie guy. And so, but it was really neat he was just this down to earth guy. So I'd like to show you just one video I found of Dr. Riekman and how funny he is. I'm not going to spend a ton because we could go into, I may do a couple videos like throughout his journey of, like I'll keep bringing up video clips of him because he was such a fantastic speaker. So let's start with that, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to share my screen. So his name is Dr. Guy Riekman.
How in the course of a lifetime, there are certain moments. And as you live the life, those moments become really the essence of who you are. I remember, for example, my first real kiss. Alice Rubio, 8th grade. She was the coolest girl in school, and I was a nerd, and I had no idea why she would be kissing me. Right? I remember the birth of my daughter, Vanessa, who's now a chiropractor. She and Jason, phenomenal chiropractors in Colorado Springs. And I remember when she came down through the birth canal, and it was at a time when you couldn't have kids in hospitals and have any guarantee they weren't going to be damaged. So we did it at home, right? We did it at home. And I remember catching Vanessa, and at that moment, it felt like the universe stuck a fist right through my chest and into my heart and grabbed my heart and started shaking crust off of my heart. And I learned what it meant to be a wet person versus a dry person at that moment in life. I remember the moment that I thought I made love to my wife at the time for 1 hour and 10 minutes, and then later realized they just switched to daylight savings time. That was a moment, right? We're going to go fast. You're going to have to keep up with this if you didn't get it, right? I recall the day sitting in a hospital in Colorado Springs when 2 MDs screwed up and took my 20-year-old daughter's life. And I remember 1.5 years ago, sitting in a private audience, one-on-one in a room with the Dalai Lama. A private audience, of course, when he's here, he's a head of state. So there's 10 CIA guys in black suits talking in their wrists in this little room. He's also considered a terrorist, remarkably, in certain parts of the world. So they provide him 10 military people in fatigues with automatic weapons and hand grenades and knives strapped all over their body. And then there's the monks, and then there's the press that follows them everywhere. In a little room that was about 15 by 20, that's a private audience with the Dalai Lama. And he's quite a jokester. He and I talked for about 15, 20 minutes about chiropractic and principles and vitalism, lasting purpose to give, serve, love, and do out of abundance. And when I left the room after almost 20 years, able to forgive those 2 MDs. Moments, right? Moments in time. But they all have to be strung together with something, right? They all have to be put into some kind of context. And for me, that happens to be chiropractic, and what I want to talk about really quickly for the next few moments, right? This idea that we are, in fact, vitalistic visionaries who are relentlessly committed to creating disruptive social innovation. And I hope when we get done in the next 45 minutes or so, that has some real meaning to you.
All right, I'll stop there because I want to bring that up. I want to share that later too. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I didn't want to show you the whole thing, but vitalism. Let's talk about that for a second. So vitalism in chiropractic is just the vitality, right? Life is about this vitality. It's about understanding how do we gain this vitality. And with chiropractic, a lot of times it's all about that. The philosophy of living your best life through removing the interferences, making sure that we're improving our health each and every day is what vitality is all about. And that's what Dr. Riekman really, aspired us to. It wasn't just about, making sure your back doesn't hurt. It was about making sure your back was better than it was before. And that's really what chiropractic's all about. And my hope is, like by doing this, I've been doing this 26 years. How in the world would I ever think that I would just be absolutely addicted to doing a podcast and still adjust people? It's because of that. It's because of the improvement in the function of the human body. Is it every single time? No, it takes time, right? But at the same time, to see things, to see my 83-year-old man that was a farmer for years, never went to a chiropractor until he was 81. And he starts coming, and to watch him come in from like an L shape bent over, in the beginning, and now he comes religiously because he knows it feels good. But the thing that I notice is his function. He is standing. He's standing up to the point that his wife even says, "You must go. You don't have a choice." It was always funny because, when he get adjusted, he'd be like, "Oh man, we're moving some things around that it wasn't the most comfortable thing for him." But what was happening was he just started getting these great results. And we're just like, wow. I mean, it's just amazing to watch because a lot of people, they give the chiropractic like one shot. And then they give up on that vitalistic perspective. They were like, okay, we were taught that the sick care model is supposed to be, we're supposed to get our vitality out of one pill, feel better. And that must mean my vitalism is restored. Well, that's not the journey, guys. That's not ever going to be the journey. The journey is everyday improvement, everyday health improvement. It should be part of who we are. It should be like number one on our list so that the rest of our loved ones and our spiritual life and all those things can be at the top of their game for the rest of your life, right? And so that's the neatest thing. So, we're going to talk about that word vitality a lot more. I think Motivation Sunday is this week, or it might be herbal. So just remember on Sunday, we go a little deeper in the weeds on that stuff. So, but tonight, let's go into some trends. And so hopefully you love that Dr. Riekman thing right there. But we're going to go into some trends of the week. And we're going to start with like TikTok, it looks like. So let us go into these trends. This has been trending for a couple weeks. So let's read it and discuss it and see what this lady has to say. So it's called fiber maxing. Okay. So we've talked about this last week, but this is one of the biggest positive leaning trends. Gen Z and others are loading up on beans, lentils, prunes, chickpeas, broccoli, and seeds for gut health. Stable blood sugar, clearer skin, satiety, which is making sure you're not hungry, and longevity. The hashtag fibermaxing has over 160 million views across TikTok and Instagram. It's phrased as a shift from quick fixes to preventative gut first eating. Okay, this is cool. Let me see if I can do this. All right, hang on. Stay there. Don't you take off. Okay, hang on. Stop. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen. I'll get better at this, I swear, guys. Okay. Here we go. And go.
CNN, Globe and Mail, all about fibermaxing.
There we go.
Fibermaxing. I've been interviewed recently on HuffPost, CNN, Globe and Mail, all about fibermaxing. And as a dietitian, this is actually a social media trend that I can get behind. because most of us aren't getting nearly enough fiber. Women need 25 grams per day, men need 38, and most of us get about half of that. And there are incredible benefits to fiber. We know it helps keep us regular. It helps support healthy gut bacteria. It can help promote a healthy weight, as well as decrease colon cancer risk and decrease risk of heart disease and lower cholesterol. So how do we get enough fiber? First of all, we don't want to go adding fiber in at every meal and every snack because that'll probably cause gas and bloating. So you want to increase fiber slowly if you're not used to eating a lot of it. And there are lots of great sources of fiber. So I love adding chia or flax into smoothies on top of oatmeal. Chia pudding is really delicious, especially if you top it with berries. And all fruits and veggies are great sources of fiber. Berries are one of the best. In terms of easy snacks, anytime you can grab a handful of nuts and seeds, those are a great source of fiber along with other nutrients. Of course, fruits or veggies, keep the skin on. And when we're looking at meals, beans and legumes are really the best source of fiber you can find. So add chickpeas into your soup, onto your salad. If you're making a quesadilla or burritos, throw in some black beans. And when we're dipping our veggies, look for a hummus, which is chickpeas instead of ranch. In terms of evening snacks, we love edamame in the shells, sprinkled with a bit of salt, and popcorn. So have fun fiber maxing.
All right, so that was good. So one of the things you want to look at when they're talking about fiber maxing, the reason this is trending, okay? Now, it's a good trend. It's not like something I'm showing just because it was terrible. I got one good, terrible one that we're going to talk about tonight. Still can't believe I'm even going to show you guys this. But fiber maxing, it makes sense because what's happening a lot of times, two things that are happening. There's a drug out there with GLP-1. Now, GLP-1s are super popular. That's everybody's talking about it. Now, there's a reason there is, and we'll get into that sometime with peptides. Peptides are basically a drug that they've just done differently. So it's an easier way to say it's holistic, but it's pretty much the same thing. So if you ever hear the peptides, it's pretty much the same kind of thing, just trying to skirt around the idea of a drug. So GLP-1 medicines are designed to have an effect on a hormone that makes you feel that you're full. Okay. And so I'm not going to name stuff. I know. Give me some of that GLP. Well, this is why you're not going to do it. Oh, Mr. Hackworth, it's good to hear from you. So the GLP-1, the problem is that it tells your body you're full from a hormones perspective. So you have this. So think of your body's innate intelligence. Your innate intelligence is now getting this signal that your body is full. So what would your body do if it was full? What it would do is increase stomach acid to start breaking down the food that's not there. It's going to release insulin from the pancreas to food that's not there. It's going to turn on your kidneys to get ready for the processing. It's going to turn on your liver to turn on the processing and detoxing the food that's not there. Okay. So then people lose their mind when they find out I'm having all these reactions, right? And, 5 years from now, it'll come out on what actual reactions are there. But because it's $1 trillion medicine, it's like the hot topic in every walk of life. So one of the things that I tell my holistic people, though, is just be cautious. And what's weird about this drug, this is a very strange thing that's fascinating, because as a holistic guy, I'm not against it completely because of this. It's kind of like one of those situations where if you have a severe diabetic, like a type 2 diabetic, it's like this miracle drug because it helps kind of reset the system. In that situation, the biggest problem with this drug, though, is that there's a ton of people that figured out they can lose a lot of weight, but they don't have to be they weren't diabetic. In fact, I know for a fact there was people trying to sabotage their blood work so their insurance company would pay for getting this $1,600 a month shot. Okay. Now I sigh because I'm so excited about this thing, this new law that's called favored nations, where a lot of these these drug companies are going to have to keep the prices in America where they should be, instead of having, let's say, I won't use that as an example, but $1,200. Let's say I saw this one kid, it was a $1,200 antibiotic that was very specific for your lower gut. Okay. So the lower gut one was $1,200. This was in Texas. So then he just drove to Mexico, bought the exact same one for $30. That should tell everybody something's wrong. Why in the world are they getting away with that big of discrepancy? So for me, the favored nation stuff, it could effectively really do some great work in, getting this sick care model kind of back righting the ship. But some of the, you got to be cautious as you go. I know. I like that. I'm just tired of watching what I eat and need the exercise. Well, if you go watch, Jim, if you go to Rumble or YouTube, I have a show on berberine. Berberine's pretty much the same thing. It's just natural, and people don't take enough therapeutic dose of it, so they don't know. Right. So they try to, it's just like anything. They try to, right. So like turmeric is a great example. Turmeric is one of those that I saw get misused constantly. It made the news, it made the trends, all over the thing. But then everybody's like, it didn't work. It didn't work as much as, Tylenol, Advil, whatever. And I was like, well, then I went into the herbalist training that I have now, which is like so cool. I'm hoping to go back this year to New Mexico with Dr. Low Dog. She promised me we're going to get a interview. So I'm hoping I might reach out again and see. She gets all busy, but but a lot of times berberine is one that actually does very similar processes, but we don't take enough therapeutic dose. One of those things, if you're like, you might have to go with your doctor just to make sure it's okay to take, but at the same time, it's something to look into. Berberine is a fantastic herb that works really, really well in a very similar manner, actually. So, and it has an effect on GLP-1, but an innate effect. And it actually creates homeostasis with it. So what are the problems? This is what I'm kind of figuring out. All right. So now you got me all down this rabbit hole. Okay. One of the things I believe has happened. This is one reason I'm doing this show, because things that pop up in my chiropractic history, I got to tell you about. Okay. So we might skip a couple of these dumb trends, because there's one that's just dumb. I don't even know why I'm even covering it, but I belong to this service club. It's called the Harper Creek Optimist Club. We went to this event in Detroit, and it was a big club. It's like you go into all the clubs and you get to meet all these people from like Detroit area. Well, there's this one super old guy, like super old. He has more badges and patches of Optimist stuff on his vest than I've ever seen. And I asked this guy, I go, what's that guy's story? And he was sleeping. He was literally sleeping in a chair, like in the middle. It's lunchtime, and this guy is out, right? Little guy could sleep anywhere. Well, he goes, that guy is 99 years old. He's never missed one of these events in his life. And, it was pretty cool. So I was like, being me, I was like, how about, can I get a picture of him? Me and him together, because I would love to do that. So I was like, man, 99 years old, you're still going to these Optimist service. So the Optimist is trying to give back to your community with, service to the schools and those kind of things. We do like a Christmas parade in Battle Creek. We do a lot of cool things. So anyway, I had to get a picture with this guy. Well, he's awake at this time, and he says, hey, can I have your card? Because you go, you're a chiropractor, huh? Yeah. So I'm like, that's cool. And he wasn't very much of a talker. He was from Japan, so that was kind of cool. He had good English and everything. So I get home, and months go by. I get a package in the mail. I'm not crapping about this. This is so true. Ooh, well, I'll finish this story. I'll put Brian's comment up. So he goes and I open this package. This man, 99-year-old, is a world-renowned eye doctor. I don't know what level. He worked at University of Michigan as an eye doctor and did studies. I couldn't get enough of this. This was his breakthrough work was back in the 60s. Think about this for a second. That was in the advent of where everybody started watching TV dinners, right? All these different things. He had studies that said when you watch TV and you eat, you're on a different frame. So like if let's say let's say back then it's a Western. Okay. So you're watching a Western, it's exciting. Okay. So what his theory is like if you're watching an exciting show, you're in what they call the fight and flight response. The flight and fight. That's not the fight and flight response is not the time that you want to digest food. Okay. So we're not going to want to digest food in this fight or flight. You want to do that when you're resting and digesting. So if you remember sympathetic's your fight and flight. There's a lion going after you. You don't really care if you digest that hamburger right now. And then there's rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic, where we're sleeping, we're resting, we're able to do the digestion. So one of his concepts was while we were watching TV, we're in this sympathetic phase. And because we're in this sympathetic phase, we start to screw up our own digestion. Okay. So I took that, and then he had a bunch of different things. So one reason why GLP-1, I believe, is working is because our entire society has become masters at ignoring the full hormone, what the GLP-1 hormone is actually trying to get going. Okay. It is something that your body produces to make sure that you say, hey, I'm full. Well, I know when I was a kid, you finished your plate, right? And I had two younger brothers. I wanted to show off that I could finish their plate too, right? And so I would go beyond the full point, and it would actually hurt. I know the two guys that are on this that have commented have probably done that too, right? All of us guys, boys, would do that constantly. We'd eat until we couldn't move anymore. And especially if you love the food, you're eating way too much of it. Well, what happens is your body makes a different subset. It makes a different set point. And all of a sudden that full hormone isn't releasing when it used to, right? And so that full hormone is what we're missing. We're not becoming self-aware of the actual hormone. So it's going to take a little bit. And I think that's why the GLP-1 has some good benefit in the sense that it brings you all the way back to like basically zero. Now trying to get off of it, that's another thing. But the idea of it to get down, that's why I love fasting, right? So fasting, it's really difficult, but it starts to help you reset the system. Okay. So, man, sorry, get off a tangent because I would go all the way from the fibromaxing. So one of the things that is happening is because of GLP-1, I'll tell you that part first. So we'll go back to the fibromaxing real quick. The reason the fibro is becoming a trend is, yes, right. So let me get into these first. So we were talking about GLP-1s. Some of the herbals, or berberine is a great one. But then Brian finds that inositol, which is a B vitamin, right, and cinnamon works really well. And that actually, both of those have that type of, that kind of effect as well. And Jim says church apocalypse as well. Yes, I agree. Especially with the gut, dude. Some of this homemade stuff. Oh, now you got me going. See, this is what I love about the podcasting thing. Dr. Matt had us go to a wild game dinner. It was so cool. I had never been to one. And so I go there, walk in, and it's everybody I think should be there. Everybody that I know that would be into that. Oh, yeah, the guys that I know that are hunters. I mean, that place is packed. It was hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh, just seeing people I hadn't seen in a while. The funniest, though, this is the hilarious. So Dr. Matt got invited by one of his patients. It's like in his probably 82, 83. And one of the coolest things when we went to this, I mean, you're talking a guy made smoked goose, and I don't even know how much this would actually cost if it was going into anything else. I hope they made a crap ton of money for their church because it was worth it. They had bear meatballs. They had all these things, but here's the crazy. I was there specifically to try woodchuck because I had heard they were going to have woodchuck. And I was like, no way is that going to be any good. And guess what was gone first? And guess who went after it? The kids. The kids that are hunters went straight after this. He made it like I want to say it was like a pulled pork type thing. And it was gone. And so I'm laughing because I don't know the Dr. Matt's patient really well. So me and him, I go, thank you for inviting us. That was so cool. And I didn't know who made what dish, right? Well, the 82-year-old's the one that made the woodchuck. And it was like, I didn't make enough again this year. I'm like, what kind of magic do you do? And it was so funny because, I mean, if you've seen one of the big old fat woodchucks, I'm like, I don't know if I'd eat that. But he goes, okay, Jeremy, the trick, though, is when you kill it, you got to immediately get the fat off, like all the fat. And then like you slow cook it in a slow cooker, and it's delicious. But the moment you leave it and leave it with the fat on there, don't do that. Just make a burial pit. Don't do it. So I was like, that was so cool to go through that. But the reason I'll go back to sorry. So the reason the fibromaxing is happening is because GLP-1 people are now no longer hungry. And now we have the other way to lose some weight, and I recommend this sometimes, is going ketogenic. Ketogenic diet is fats, proteins, water, basically, right? So good fats, good protein, water. It resets the system because 99% of the time, your body is never going to be allergic to fat, meat, or water. Okay. I'm sure there's some rare person out there that happens to, but that process kind of resets your system. Let's say you're having an inflammation out of control situation. A lot of times I'll tell people go into a ketogenic diet for a while, see how you feel. And so a lot of times it'll reduce the inflammation because maybe, the fake sugars of the world, which we'll find out next week, the fake glutens of the world, all of these things our body has a reaction to. And so when our bodies have this reaction, that's the immune system. So if you take it away with ketogenic or fasting, you start feeling a lot better. But here's the problem. If you do not have fiber, your gut bacteria will suffer. Okay. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Gut bacteria is trillions of live organisms. There's trillions of little gut bacteria down here in your microbiome. It's something that Rachel and I have been loving. We're doing a lot of these gut reset detoxes. If you're ever interested, let me know. Just reach out to the office. We'll set you up for all that. But getting the gut microbiome back together and getting going, it needs food. And food comes in the form of fiber. So that's why the fibermaxing one is really, really cool. All right. I'm going to show you a nuts trend. I'm still trying to figure, I don't even know if I should put it on here. All right. We're going to see what this does, and then we'll talk about it because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like this one. Okay. Hang on. All right. This is literally some of the crap that is happening on TVs, okay, or on people's TikTok screen. So I wanted to show you why I'm going to do this. This, I'm going to tell you, is not something I ever want you to do. Okay, here we go.
Están metiéndose plástico. Mira, en China hay personas que están metiéndose plástico en la boca antes de comer. ¿Pero por qué lo hacen y qué se supone que logra esto? En realidad, allí se ha vuelto popular una tendencia bastante extraña. Antes de comer su comida favorita, la gente se coloca un plástico transparente en la boca, lo mantiene ahí por unos segundos y luego lo saca junto con la comida y la tira. Ellos creen que de esta forma el cerebro piensa que realmente ya comieron ese alimento y que así pueden hacer dieta sin consumirlo. Sin embargo, este truco es completamente falso, pero aún así muchas personas siguen creyendo en él. Especialistas en nutrición explican que engañar al cerebro de esta forma no funciona a largo plazo. El cerebro no solo reconoce el acto de masticar, sino también la digestión, las calorías y los nutrientes que realmente entran al cuerpo.
Okay, that's enough of that crap. Okay, so what we're witnessing, if you're listening to my podcast, is this TikTok video was showing these people covering their mouth with plastic, taking a bite of what they are having a craving for. So let's say it's chocolate cake. So they're taking a piece of plastic, going over your mouth, sticking the chocolate cake into the plastic, chewing on it, and then removing the cake or whatever you're eating. Now, there's a crap ton of why this could be a trend. I'll tell you that part first. One of the things that is very troubling is that it's a brain activation. So you hear the cake, you're like, oh my God, I need that cake. So your brain activates your salivary glands to cause your digestion to begin. Okay. Why grocery stores infuse bread smells throughout the whole place is to get the salivary glands and you thinking about that because bread smells so delightful. That's just the way that is. Oh, that's hilarious. What if I tried that with a fruit roll up instead? I would say, I don't know. I forgot about those. I don't know if it's going to have the same idea behind it, where they're doing this weird thing where they're removing it. It's almost like bulimia. Like, it's kind of like a cheaper man's version of bulimia where you don't actually go through and I think bulimia is the one where you puke, if I remember right. So they eat the stuff and then they actually vomit back because they're so worried about their figure and all the calories with it. So it's like a easier version of bulimia. Here's the problem. You're stuffing plastic in your mouth. Okay. Microplastics alone would be a horrific idea. And not to mention if you suck in, I don't know, maybe suffocate yourself. I don't know. But that's the kind of stuff. That's why Whole Health Weekly's here, guys, to save you. My prayer is that if you're watching Whole Health Weekly, you have IQ larger than that, where we won't be doing things like that. And if I catch you, be like, oh man, it was amazing to sort of eat cake or, those kind of things. So just to be on the lookout for things like that in the trending world of stuff, right? So that is wild. So I'll read it a little bit more so you can be wary of all this. Users wrap their mouth tightly in plastic cling film, chew food for flavor, and then spit it out, claiming it tricks the brain into feeling full with 0 calories for weight loss. But there's major alarms with microplastics, choking. That could be a thing. Gum damage, stomach acid issues because you're doing the same thing. You're faking that you're doing the same thing. Just food there. And so what happens to your stomach acid? It increases, right? So that's the other thing. This one's kind of cool. Okay, so we'll do this one. Man, this is a good episode tonight. Okay, so chia seed gut health challenge. Okay. Soaking or eating chia seeds. Chia seeds are great for omega-3s. It's like fantastic. And fiber, of course. Indigestion paired with a no added sugar dessert, face plunges. Okay, hang on. Let's see what this shows. Oh, I don't have that. Okay. Let's see if. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Well, let's skip that one for tonight. And then because right now I'm hitting my now I'm hitting my wall of I want to keep these always an hour. So now let's go into the cool actual the news of the week as far as holistic and health through my favorite site, Dr. Mercola's website. Dr. Mercola is got a great website, and then there's a few articles on here that we need to go through because they're fantastic. And these are all the good things. So remember that. These are all the good things we want to talk about. This is really cool. I want you to listen to what I'm about this article that we're going to talk about. This is by Dr. Joseph Mercola. Okay. So human hearts can regrow some muscle cells after severe damage. Not all hearts respond the same way after injury. New findings show that oxygen stress and workload changes may influence whether heart muscle attempts. Hang on, guys. I don't know why my dog is freaking out. I will be right back. Bad parent moment. Bad parent moment. My daughter was at a youth group that we both forgot about. Anyway, so sorry about that, guys. Olive, our dog of wonder there. So anyway, so where were we at? Shoot. Oh, let's go into the human hearts. Okay. So let's go into this human hearts. Human heart attacks occur every 40 seconds in America, affecting a total of 805,000 people annually. It is characterized by blocked coronary arteries that starve cardiac muscle blood flow. Australian researchers found human hearts can actually regenerate muscle cells after heart attacks, with preserved cardiac tissue showing 7 to 8% mitosis rates. This is like cellular regeneration, so that's pretty good. 7 to 8 after our heart attack, though 25 to 50% is going to be needed for full repair. But they're seeing it that it's actually healing up 7 to 8%. Hypoxia, which is oxygen deprived state during heart attacks, may also trigger regeneration, similar to how fetal hearts produce new cells in low oxygen womb environment. Advanced heart failure reduces heart muscle cell renewal dramatically, but patients with mechanical heart pumps show a regeneration rate of 3.1% annually. That's pretty good. So prevention remains crucial. Strategies such as minimizing linoleic acid, which is your seed oils, monitoring body fat percentage, engaging in moderate resistance training, and learning to recognize heart attack warning signs, and it can increase the outcomes. So I like putting that out there. Oh, I know. You're welcome. Now I want bread. Thank you. I know. All you got to do is think of that one. So in heart stuff, this is one of the things that we have to remember. And I always love this. And I tell patients all the time, when I talk about degenerative arthritis, one of the things in chiropractic that we run into all day, every day, the person that comes in and says, hey, my back is so full of arthritis, there's not much I can do about it. I go, well, maybe you right now, but maybe later. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, once we get you functionally as good as we can, what's to say your body's not going to help you retrain get you back your function? They're like, what are you talking about? I go, did you know that if you have an occluded artery to your heart and you're still going, the innate intelligence of your body will actually build a secondary artery around the blockage and connect it. It will grow it. So if that artery blockage never gets seen somehow, because it happens all the time, they're finding it constantly. On people like, oh, they never had any heart problems, but then they get in there and they're like, hey, this guy had a blockage, but if for some reason the body created an artery right over the top of where that blockage was and just made a new path. Whoa, that's what you should be saying. That's crazy. Do I recommend that? No. But the idea that you can have this heart regeneration is like off the chain impressive, right? So now they're putting science to it that with doing nothing, like not doing new health, nutrition, heart, start working out, any of those things, you can actually regenerate 7 to 8% of that heart tissue by just doing the right stuff. So I thought that was an amazing article. Just thinking of the potential of the human body is what this whole thing's about. I like this one because this is another one that gets people. The hidden role of bacteria in the formation of kidney stones. Kidney stones form when minerals in urine crystallize and clump together. Among all types, calcium oxalate stones are the most common. Calcium oxalate, I think there's 4 different ones. Calcium. Oh, now I can't remember. There's like 4 different types of stones. So a lot of times you want to make sure if you ever have kidney stones, you want to make sure calcium oxalate are the most common. But so calcium oxalate stones were long thought to result solely from physical and chemical processes. But a recent study found that bacteria embedded inside them, or they actually have bacteria embedded inside them. These bacteria form dense biofilms within the stone, creating sticky structures that gives crystals more places to attach to, helping the stones form and grow. A separate study showed that kidneys host their own microbiome where certain bacteria promote stone formation, while others help limit crystal growth within kidney tissue. Simple steps like staying hydrated, moderating oxalates, reducing seed oils, moving more, avoiding unnecessarily antibiotics can help lower some kidney risks in microbial health. So I would like to say one other one on that one. In our world, if you're ever into, we do a testing. It's a muscle testing that kind of helps us determine. So once we do your entire gut bacteria, we actually go through and kind of test the human body on making sure all of these processes are going. You heard that the kidney has its own microbiome. The mouth has its own microbiome, right? It's not just about the gut microbiome, right? So you got to make sure that if there is some good kidney supplementation out there that can actually help the kidney function much, much better. Now, so what I tell people a lot of times, they'll have their first kidney stone. It sucks, right? And then it kind of goes on deaf ears sometimes, unless you're like into holistic stuff. So I said, if the kidney is having kidney stones, it's kind of like it's telling you that my kidney's not functioning all the way properly, right? So in my thinking is I want to give my body everything it can to get the innate intelligence of that body, the kidney, to function as high as it can with what I can give it to as an environment, so that it would help that not have another kidney stone. For example, I want to take supplementation that is directly going towards the kidney, right? For good kidney health. There's things out there, right? Different herbals, different nutrition that way. You have, we want to stay away from various toxicities, right? Maybe alcohol, maybe sugars, things that put a stress on those kidneys. One of the reasons our kidney stuff is so bad is because of the fake sugars in pop. That's a big one. Oh, yes, I can. I will get you that, my friend. So yeah, but the big thing is understanding that these kidney stones are your kidneys cry for help in a sense. So we got to figure that out, right? And so some people have constantly recurring kidney stones that happen all the time. That's a cry for something in your gut microbiome that is calling you, that is telling you, hey, I'd like to get your attention. Why not do something about that? So I thought that was a really good article. As we go, let me see if I got one more, and then I'll leave you guys. Ooh, I like this one. Okay. So we're going to do this last one, and then I'll leave you till Sunday night. I think it's herbal, if I remember, because usually we do thoughts, toxins, trauma. Last week was really good. We talked about some trauma stuff with hysteresis. So if you want to learn how truly to help your ligaments out, go watch that. Hopefully it makes sense. It's one of my favorite topics, but sometimes I get off in the weeds. Not exactly the best explainer sometimes, but okay. So anyway, this is our last one tonight, exploring the link between niacin and fatty liver disease. Okay. Fatty liver disease is the most common liver disorder driven by obesity, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance. It often progresses silently for years before symptoms appear. Niacin, which is a B vitamin, right? Niacin helps your body use energy better. It turns down a molecule called microRNA 93, which normally blocks two key proteins that help your cells make energy and burn fat. By restoring these proteins, niacin helps your mitochondria work more efficiently. Remember, what your mitochondria is, the powerhouse to the cell. It's the one that creates all the energy. This shift supports fat burning in your liver instead of fat storage. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Higher niacin intake has been linked to reduced liver fat, lower inflammation, improved insulin sensitivity, better cholesterol levels, and reduced long-term mortality in fatty liver patients. Niacinamide is the better choice compared to niacin because of its function as NAD plus precursor. So NAD plus is a process in your body that helps with energy. Okay. So the ideal dosage is about 50 milligrams 3 times a day, ideally in powder form for precise intake. Niacinamide also doesn't cause skin flushing. So have you ever, Dr. Matt gets it pretty good. It's they're called a niacin flush. So some people that take niacin, their cheeks will be super red. And it's like they get hit with like it's like they get spiked with energy. It's crazy. I've never had that issue. So that's always interesting. It just depends on the person, I guess. Increased choline intake, which is good, is the best way to manage fatty liver disease. I'll tell you what choline is in a second. Research shows it helps transport fat out of the liver. While there are several types of choline supplements, CD-choline is the preferred one because of its high bioavailability. So choline is something they're finding in the gut bacteria that is a really good one. CHOLINE. So remember that one, choline and niacin. Okay, so choline and niacin are two huge things that you can add to. And remember, if you're getting a fatty liver, that means your gut microbiome's off somehow. In that gut, we got to reset that entire gut system. Okay, so just remember that as we go. But thank you guys for hanging out. We had quite a bit of a good crowd tonight. I'm pretty excited about it. The neat thing is like remember to come on Sunday night. Sunday night we'll have another talk. But next Wednesday, it won't be a Whole Health Weekly. It will not be a Whole Health Weekly. It will be an interview. I'm gonna start having these. They're coming, and I'll give you a little hint. This is a lady. I can give you a little bit. She makes her own flour, which is really, really cool. So we're going to go into the ins and outs of why you would do something like that, how she does it. And I think you guys are going to be very surprised at that episode. So, because gluten, my friends, is not the enemy we thought it was. The way we do gluten is the enemy that we thought it was. So with that said, I appreciate you all. You have a great night, and I'll see you on Sunday night. Have a good one.